All right, we are YouTube live. Okay, so request for core, not standing too much and stretching and opening the back. So get your core block at the top of the mat, red ball in front of that. Grab your orange bolster, the other side bolster for underneath your legs. And then you're going to get your little 2-pound purple balls.
Should I have my head at this end of that?
Yeah, put your head down in it so that you're facing me. Little 2-pound purple balls, and your strap pretty much next to where your bolster is going to be. And let's bring the purple block too, got a little foam block. Okay, so lots of toys, all propped up. All right, so to start, you're going to sit down between the red ball and the bolster, legs over the bolster.
What am I missing?
The
balls?
Strap.
Strap. I have one.
Strap. There you go. Purple.
Purple.
I'll get it.
Square.
I'll get it. Alright, so once you have all your toys nearby, and you want the balls and all this stuff to be within reach when you lay down. But when you're laying down, you want free wingspan here, so kind of waist level with all your props. Alright, so we're going to line up your ball. I'm going to show you first. You're going to put it up against your low back, take it about a half roll back so it just barely clears the lumbar spine, and then you're going to lay over it. Now as we transition, the easiest way to transition is lift the hips and roll your body around on the ball. So we're going to be transitioning forward. The ball will roll up the spine, the ball will roll up the spine, the ball will roll up the spine each time we transition. Don't try to reach back into your ball. And a lot of people trying to do that lately. That doesn't work very well. So try to move you over the ball, which is a good exercise anyway. Alright. Now, so start with it against your low back, move it a half roll back. It's just under the floating ribs. If too close to the lumbar spine bothers your low back, you can move it up the spine earlier. That's the direction it's going to go eventually. Okay, once you're there, bring your purple balls. Bring your bolster up to the hips, but don't let it touch the pelvic floor. Don't bring it all the way. And then bring your tailbone under a little bit so your sacrum is resting on the ground. So you're not arching the low back and digging your tailbone into the floor and flexing the lats and the lumbar spine. All these muscles down here should be soft. Instead, you're pulling the low belly out of the front of the hips. And if you use feet to put a little pressure, like you're pushing the mat forward, which should be a soft quad engagement, muscles in the tops of the legs, that'll shift your tailbone under. And you'll feel more of your spine come to the ball. That's when you know you're releasing, when more of the spine comes to the ball. When your spine is running away from the ball, that's when you're not releasing and your back's going to hurt later. Or maybe it'll hurt right away. All right, legs over the bolster. As far as the block goes, the block should be right about at the hairline, bottom of the block. You want to be able to drop your chin down and feel like your neck is long, and the block is almost kind of helping to tilt the top of the head up to the ceiling a little and chin down to the floor. Chin down into your own throat. Okay, let's grab your purple balls to start. Bring the arms out to the side with purple balls, one in each hand. Okay? Keep that low belly a little bit drawn. No squeezing hips, that's not the same thing. Okay, let your elbows rest on the floor. They don't touch. You're going to want to put blocks or blankets under the elbows so they can touch. Take a long, deep breath in. As you exhale, you're going to start to roll your shoulders a little forward. You can lift your chin just enough so that the collarbone can roll forward more. Let your hips release. Low belly can draw a little. And instead of thinking low belly today, I want you to think pelvic floor. Think mula bandha. You give a Kegel exercise for men, drawing the member up into the body, closing the perineum. Whatever you think of, don't think just low belly. For a lot of you, that's low hip, but that's front of the hips, low back too. Okay, now let the shoulders roll back, let your hips release, low belly. Feels like it sinks more out of the front of the hips. Ribs should open more as shoulder blades roll back above the ball, between the ball and the block. Chin down. Inhale here. As you exhale, feel your ribs start to draw into the ball a little. Shoulders start to roll forward. Low belly draws enough to bring lumbar spine more to the ball. And then go the other way. Shoulders drop back, chin down, ribs lift and open. Inhale. Exhale, shoulders roll forward. Chin may lift a little. Your pubic bone is forward. It's not tucked up toward your face. Then when your shoulders roll back, your ribs open, your upper back is arching. Now your low belly can draw pubic bone to your face a little. So upper back is arching, low back is rounded. Then roll shoulders forward, ribs draw in a little. Now don't tuck hips, pubic Reach the arms straight out to the sides. If your 2-pound balls are too heavy, just get rid of the balls. It's not about the weight, it's about using the weight to make a stretch. So if you're holding because it's such a heavy weight and it's too much of a stretch, then get rid of that weight, you don't need it. Feel your shoulder blades close in towards your block and towards your ball and in towards your spine. And then reach the hands out. Spread your fingers, flat wrist, balls are just resting on the hands. Bring your shoulder blades together. Notice if you're pushing into your tailbone and arching the low back. Don't do that. Low belly in. Slowly bring the hands up. They should be at about ear level. Bring the hands up slowly. When you have to close the fingers, you can. Feel your chest, your biceps. Drop your chin. Really slow here. When the hands come all the way up, let the balls touch right above your forehead. Shouldn't be able to see your face in the ceiling here anymore. And slide your shoulder blades off the back. Ribs dropping softly into your ball. That's your leverage. Ribs pull down a little bit as the arms go up. Let your hips release. Then slide the shoulder blades back down, chin down. Keep the balls right above the forehead. Don't let them drop forward. That'll be the tendency. Then slide the shoulder blades up. The core muscles draw just a little bit. Not much. No tucking. Separate ribs from hips. Hips are not involved. Drop the shoulder blades back down. Shoulder blades slide together near the spine. Good. And then bring your arms straight out to the side slowly. Keep a little bend in your elbows, real soft. Elbows are bent towards the floor, chest opening. Okay, so it may feel like flies in the gym, but it's not, because I'm not going to let you talk or flex much the extra muscles. Okay? To do this again, feel your low belly draw out of the front of the hips. Inner spiral your legs till your knees face the ceiling. Now engage your quads. All the quads do is straighten the legs. All it should do is pop the feet up. Good. Now pull the arms up about halfway, hold. Pull your ribs down into your red ball. Low belly draws, pick the hips up without squeezing your glutes. No glute squeeze. Bring the arms all the way up. Slide shoulder blades off the back. Hollow and round, or hollow the chest and round the upper back. Like a half pipe. Shoulder blades up. Release your glutes, release your hips. Let your hips start dropping back down. All the way to the floor with tail under a little. Drop the shoulder blades down past the ball. Maybe more of your spine connects with the ball now. Good. Put a baby bend in your elbows. Outer spiral arms, so biceps face backwards. Face your face. Slowly drop the arms back. Gravity's dropping arms back. Your serratus underneath the shoulders, underneath the arms, the muscles that run the sides of the ribs here, under the armpit. That's what's slowing the descent of the ball. You're holding the base of the arms up a little. Chin down, neck long. Let your ribs open. Feel your low belly draw out of the front of the hips. Inhale. As you exhale, bring your arms out to the sides. Feel the arms roll through the shoulder joint. Notice any sticky spots. Inhale. And then slowly bring it up. Use chest, use biceps. Do not use your back. Low back should not be tense. The low belly can be drawn out of the hips, but low back should not be tense. When the balls touch, slide the shoulder blades apart. Now, turn the hands so that the back of the hands touch. Inner spiraling the arms. Back of the hands touch. Balls face out. The 2-pound balls may be heavy for this. You may want to get rid of them. Keep sliding shoulder blades up. Feel your chest engaged. Your pecs engaged. So fold the chest in half. Collarbone up. Drop the arms forward. Now notice your hips. Are they tucking? Or is your back arching? Let that go. Low belly can draw inside open ribs. That's it. Think of perineum, think of pelvic floor, not necessarily what you think of as low belly. Bring just your head up. Your arms should be crushing your own chest or squishing your own chest. Slide shoulder blades forward, but keep the ribs pulling back. You're trying to lean back into your ball. Now slide the shoulder blades back. One more time, slide shoulder blades forward, suck the belly back. Low back should be released. Outer spiral arms so palms face up. Bring the arms out to the side. Bend your elbows in toward your red ball. Pull your shoulder blades down to the red ball to prop the head and neck up higher, longer. As the shoulder blades come down to the earth, down to the red ball, and squeeze the red ball, the top of the head should feel like you can go to the ceiling more. Neck longer, thoracic spine longer. Pubic bone is forward. Do not tuck right now. I don't want to see gym abs. Pubic bone forward. Reach the arms back out to the sides. Roll the shoulders back. Slowly come back. Feel your shoulder blades onto the ball. Head comes to your block. Bring your arms overhead. Reach through the thumb side of your hand. Stretch. Leave one ball there. Bring your other ball back up. Good. Both hands on the ball. I want the ball your fingers flattening the ball down. And then outer spiral arm, so biceps face your eyes, face your face. Slide your shoulder blades up off the back, ribs drawing down. Don't tuck your hips here. And then slide the shoulders back down, chin down. Really let the shoulder blades release all the way up by the cervical spine, even the top of the shoulder blades dropping. Slide it back up. Feel a little draw in your ribs, heavy in your back. Feel your back press heavy into the ball. Don't try to let the back run away from the ball. Now, if you're a real gym person and you really squeeze, don't press the back heavy into the ball. Slide the shoulders back down. Good. Last one, slide the shoulders up. Get some freedom of movement in there. Reach out of the chest. Thumbs reach up. Now I want you to feel like you're pulling the ball apart with your hands from the back of the shoulders, pulling wide. Keep the outer spiral. Keep the reach. Shoulder blades are off the back, wrapping around the ribs. Drop the arms forward. Your arms should squish your pecs or your chest. Okay. Now let your hips go. Release the tuck. Feel length in the front of the hips. Low belly, softly draw. Think pelvic floor. Bring your head up. Feel the spine. Turn the corner and the vertebrae open right where they're touching the ball. Slide your shoulder blades back first so you resist the temptation to come forward and tuck. Then using those middle abs, slide shoulder blades forward. Middle abs is your anchor, not hips. No tuck in the hips. This should feel good in your low back, all right? Slide shoulder blades back. Feel those middle abs. Slide shoulder blades forward. Get free in the neck. Good. Now really slide shoulder blades forward. Suck the belly back. Pubic bone is forward though. So you should feel like your spine is straight from pubic bone and tailbone all the way up to the part of the back that's touching the ball. And then it turns a corner there, and then from the part that's touching the ball to the top of the head, that's long and straight. Arms should be working. Slide the shoulders back. Don't change anything else. Core will work. Good. And then slide the shoulders forward. Okay. Now think of rolling your red ball to the left. That does not mean your shoulder comes to your hip or your hip tries to come to your shoulder. I want your left ribs to open more. So your right shoulder blade can come down a little bit, pushing your ribs left. Left arm can roll up and in a little bit, opening the left ribs. Left ribs get pregnant. Your ball can go a touch right, but don't overdo that. Now start laying back over the ball. Open your left obliques. Don't let them stay engaged. And come back up slowly, low belly. Find the muscles inside the core, not on top. Bring it back to the middle. So you got your 8-pack abs, your obliques are superficial. That connects ribs and pelvis. I'm not interested in those. I want transverse abs between ribs and pelvis, and I want deep muscles, psoas. All the muscles deep inside the core. Here we go. Roll your red ball right by pulling the left shoulder blade down to push your ribs across to the right. Right shoulder blade a little up. Think of the pec rolling the arm in. Inner spiraling the arm. Okay? Your ball can go a little left. Don't go far left. Now make sure the hips release, both of them forward. And then lay back a little. Let the ribs open. Feel low belly draw out of the front of the hip. Feel pelvic floor lift and come back up. And then come back to the middle. How are we going? Is the only difference between gross muscles, big muscles, and the little ones. Okay? Bring your arms up diagonally in front of you. You should barely be able to see them out of the top of the eyes. Drop your shoulder blades down. Let your hips go. They don't get to tuck. Slide shoulder blades up, upper back into the red ball. Good. Belly should be flat. Slide shoulder blades down. Slide them up, belly pulling into the red ball. Slide shoulder blades down. Lay the head back. Keep the shoulder blades down. Let your ribs open away from the hips. Let your arms drop back. Your spine should be cupping around your red ball a little more by now. 3. Now, I want you to go ahead and shrug the shoulders up. I want your shoulder blades to slide up the side of the ribs, opening the side of the ribs, opening the side body. Then lift your ball about halfway up and hold. Biceps are pretty much behind the head or by the block. Inner spiral legs. Engage quads, just enough to lift the legs. Good. Now low belly draws to bring your pubic bone up. Your low back should be rounded as your hips lift and your glutes stay released. Your ribs push down into the ball. Low belly drawing, let the glutes release. Hips may drop a little, but let the glutes go. And then slowly bring it back down, hollowing out the low belly. Let the sacrum come to the mat, release the leg. Let the ribs open more. Okay? Now shrug the shoulders further. Feel your ribs open more. Now I'm going to reach more through the right arm. Roll a little bit to the right on your ball. Let your ribs fall off the right side of the ball a little bit. And then roll to the left. Reach through left arm. Let the ribs fall off the left side of the ball. Don't tighten either hip. They don't get to come to. Come back to the center. Use your shoulder blades. Pull the shoulders down away from the ears. You can bend elbows a little if you need to. Get the shoulders away from the ears. And then feel those shoulder blades come together on the spine, together on your red ball as you pull up. It should come from underneath, like you're pulling the shoulder blade up from underneath, and the hands and the rest of the arm are really light because you're working from the base of the arm. Good. Last one here. Slide the shoulder blades off the back. Outer spiral arm, so biceps face you. No, check that. We already did that. Inner spiral arm, so biceps face each other. Okay, that'll make your chest wider. Now bring the shoulder blades off the back more. Drop your arms forward with that chest wide. Still squeezing your ball and pulling it apart from the back of the shoulders. Bring the head up. Keep the hips released. Think of those core muscles, deep apple core muscles inside the ribs, inside the pelvic bowl. Think of the pelvic bowl as a little hula hoop. Ribs as a cage. There's lots of muscles inside of there that I want you to feel. Slide your shoulder blades forward. Keep the inner spiral. Slide your shoulder blades back, keeping the inner spiral. Good. Slide shoulder blades forward, keeping inner spiral. Bring the arms up. Try to take the arms behind your head. Keep your pubic bone forward. It's going to get hard pretty early if you feel your low back. Don't do it. Keep your low belly sucking in and across. Try to drop all the way back to your block. That should be a decent amount of core already.
Yeah.
Alright, and bring the arms all the way up from underneath. Okay, and get rid of your ball. How we doing?
Good.
Nobody's living? Low backs are good?
Mhm.
Nobody's keep killing their low back. Alright. Come up enough to reach your bolster and push it forward about 6 inches. And then hop your hips forward about 6 inches or so, which will be a few vertebrae. Grab your strap. Lay your strap across your hips. Straps are maximum strength just because we're trying to use them to help weight bear and to help support part of the body weight, not to strength the, well, whatever, you get the point. Take your strap behind the head. Let's see, first of all, hold your strap on the outside of the hips. It's about, I don't know, 2 feet or so, right? Okay? And then bring it around the back of the head and think about, trying to maybe spread the strap out a little bit, but think about pulling the strap, or pulling the head, the base of the skull up to the ceiling, top of the head aiming to the ceiling, and then also it should feel like the top of your head is going to where the wall meets the ceiling in front of you. The serratus, softly pull elbows forward. That's what puts pressure. Don't pull hard on this. That is not it. Okay? There's a little bit of just holding it in place. I'm not super tense right now. Then drop your chin back into your own throat. Trying to get a chin lock. Trying to get what's called jalandhara bandha. Chin in between the collarbones down to the sternum. That lengthens the neck back. You guys feel that? Good. So serratus are pulling elbows forward. Chin is dropping back against that. And they meet with equal pressure. You're not pulling hard here. If your arm starts shaking, unless you haven't used them in a very long time, you're pulling too hard. Okay, keep elbows in and hands open. The tendency is for elbows to fly open and hands to close in. That's because your shoulder doesn't want to stretch. Okay? Now keep the shoulder blades forward. Then pull the shoulder blades down into your red ball. Top of the head forward further. Okay? Feel the shoulder blades kickstand down into red ball to pick up the back of the neck more. Keep pubic bone forward, low belly drawing flat. Okay, now you're going to start leading back with a flat neck. Like the back of the neck is trying to be parallel to the floor as you drop back. And since you're not going to release your chin lock and lift the chin and crunch the neck, something's got to give. So you're going to let the ribs open away from the pelvic bowl. Front ribs open up. Oops, I forgot to say move the block, didn't I? Sorry. Front ribs open up, and you drop the head back. Elbows are still in, and you're still pulling the back of the neck along. Chin in, trying to achieve a chin lock, although you probably don't have all of it. To come back up, feel the low belly. Pull with the serratus, the muscle on the sides of the ribs. Chin is still dropping back the whole time. Once you're all the way up, chin is still dropping back. Feel the serratus pull forward. Feel your back round more. Get that chin lock. Drop your chin into the sternum, top of the head forward. Now don't tuck the hips forward toward you. That just flexes those superficial abs and they create a little wall in your abdomen. Instead, keep pubic bone forward as you round the upper back. You're keeping lumbar spine long. You feeling that? That should let the back ribs open down more. Okay? We're only doing one more. I know if your arms are talking to you, you're probably doing something pretty good here. If they're shaking and you're dying and you don't feel the neck stretch, not so much. Start laying back with chin back. Find that chin lock. Feel your ribs come up to the chin as much as your chin comes down to the ribs. Let the ribs open. This time, when you're back there, disengage your serratus. Reach your elbows back. Pull the head back longer. Good. Now pull the hands forward, serratus re-engage. Feel shoulder blades come into your red ball like a kickstand or like a crowbar. Shoulder blades dig your red ball. The top of the head comes forward. Pubic bone stays forward. It doesn't take much to do that. It's not a flexion in your back. It's a release in the hips mostly. And keep pulling that head forward. Now slide elbows forward, but keep the chin in. Keep the chin low. Good. And let go of your strap. Or not let go, but take it off your head. How are we doing? Yeah, I think we're good.
Really feel the triceps.
Yeah, you should feel your triceps. That's right. Okay, go ahead and hold your strap. If you know you're tight in the shoulders, you may go wider than that width, but if you think you can move through your shoulder girdle, like this, you can go that width, okay? If you have any sticky spots where you feel like you have to make a crazy adjustment to get through that and then re-straighten the arms or something, you need to hold wider, or you need to go slower and be disciplined in your movement. Don't force through a sticky spot, but don't let sticky spots tell you you don't get to move through that range of motion. Okay, so you're gonna hold with your thumbs. Inner spiral arms, which means eye of elbow and biceps roll in, which usually means your chest can engage more and hollow more. You're going to slide the shoulder blades forward, but keep the neck back. Opposition. Okay? Now as you bring your arms up, I want your shoulder blades to slide up the side of the ribs a little bit. And then your low belly is going to have to do a lot of work, no tucking. Now pull out on your strap a little as you come through the joint. All the way back, try to roll through. Once hands touch, try to roll shoulders forward, lift up a little higher. Good. Now reach back, lean into your red ball, bring it back up. If your neck gets tired at any point, just wrap it up and stretch forward. You're going to do 2 more like that. Inner spiral of the arms, slide shoulder blades off the back without letting your chin come forward and your neck get crunched. You've got to go back against it with the neck. Keep pubic bone forward. It's a lot of opposition here. Bring the arms up. Keep the core stable. Good. Pull out on your strap a little bit as you move through the stretch. Roll through shoulder blades. The shoulder blades come together. It's a kickstand in the ball that should lift the head up higher. Good, and then bring it back forward. Good. Third one, you can either do it the same or you can add inner spiral legs, a little bit of quad. When you flex your quads, notice if your glute squeeze and everything pops up. Just quads. Don't let the glute squeeze. Quads and low belly. That's it. Feet are soft. They can jiggle. Alright, inner spiral arms. Now think of picking the hips up by using quads to flatten the backs of the knees down and low belly draws away. Ribs into your red ball. No glutes. Bring the arms up. No tucking. If you're tucked, this is going to get real hard right now. Bring your arms back, open the chest. Good. Shoulder blades kickstand the head up, and bring it back up. Spread shoulder blades off the back without tucking. Release the glutes, release the quads, let the legs drop. Low belly helps bring the back of the pelvis to the floor first, and then drop all the way forward. Good. Go ahead and take the strap behind the head one more time. Pull the back of the head forward, top of the head forward. Keep the pubic bone forward. I don't even care if you use your low back a little to arch, it'll stretch your upper back more. I would rather you use your low belly spreading across, but good. And there we go. Get ready to strap. We can, right?
Quad work really helps.
Yeah?
Different,
The quad helps you
getting
differentiate.
away from.
Yeah. So a lot of muscles in the legs, quads of the forehead, muscles on top, IT band, connective tissue on the outside, hamstrings in the back. Adductus magnus goes inside and then through horizontally. That's a tough one. So start to try to differentiate the muscles in the legs. All right, let's go ahead and push your bolster forward again, another 6 inches. Pop the hips forward, another 6 inches. So at this point, your ball should be right behind your shoulder blades. So if I pull my shoulder blades straight back, the base of them kind of stabs into the ball. Okay? Legs over your bolster. Make sure bolster's far enough so your hips can move a little further. Yeah? Good. So you should be able to move the pelvic bowl. Okay? All right. Hands under your head now. Interlace the fingers. Think of squeezing your fingers into each other that way, like little scissors closing. And then think of clamping the base of the hand into each other, and almost like you're going to flatten fingers and pull them apart. Okay, that'll help you keep your serratus engaged, keep that line engaged all the way up the hand. And that base of your hand clamps in on the head. Elbows come around the sides of the body so that your shoulder blades wrap around the sides of the ribs a little bit, coming away from the spine. I don't close them all the way in because now you're just closing the chest and now you're closing right in front. The spine's in the middle. You want it open on all sides. So just bring elbows to the peripheral vision. They should feel wide and forward. Okay? Then your hands clamped on your head. Pull the back of the head up to the ceiling and forward. Find that chin lock. Then notice if your hips are tucking toward you, let that go. Release the pubic bone forward. Let the spine open here. Feel shoulder blades softly dig into your ball. Let the back ribs drop back and down into the area where the ball and floor meet. Breathe here. Inhale long and soft. Sink the middle abs, the transverse abs between ribcage and pelvis. Keep pulling the top of the head forward, chin lock. The more the chin drops the sternum, if you release the back, the more the back will open. The back ribs drop, upper spine round. Okay, now keep the chin lock for as long as you can as you drop back. Let your ribs open more. Laying back over the ball. Keep the neck supported, neck is long. I would say give yourself a double chin, but that involves tightening the chest. That's not it. Okay, then reach the elbows back, up and back. Your serrated slide up, or your shoulder blades slide up the sides of the ribs. Elbows reach back, close to you, still in your peripheral vision. Then pull your shoulders down away from the ear. Shoulder blades stab into your ball. Bring the head up, just the head. Shin finds your neck lock as early as possible. Back of the neck is long, almost resisting coming up. Pubic bones forward. Let the upper back open more as you bring the head further forward. How are we doing? Good. All right. Go ahead and push your bolster forward till your feet are on. So you should feel kind of warmed up from like here up maybe, from the hips up. Quads a little bit, all right? But haven't done a whole lot with low body, so we're going to change that a little bit. Okay, I want you to hop your hips forward one more time. Not much. Make sure you still stick to your ball. Okay? And then you're going to put your feet all the way out to the edges of the bolster. And they should be about your own legs length, upper legs length away from you, a little less. Okay. All right. Then I want you to bring the hands behind the head again. Same clasp, but do it the opposite way. So if you always put the left thumb on top, switch to the right thumb's on top, and vice versa. And then get that base of the hand squeezing feeling again. Okay, and then I want you to turn your feet sideways, trying to put the arch of the feet right in the corners of the bolster and let your knees drop open to whatever your hip stretch is. And then notice, if you're tucking, you're really holding against that stretch. Let your low back have its natural curve. Let your pubic bone come forward. Now I said let. It's not an active. That doesn't mean flex your low back as hard as you can and dig your tailbone into a hole. It just means let the weight of the legs, open the legs, and let your pubic bone reach forward. Okay? So you may have space in your lumbar spine, and that's okay. Don't try to create space there. Now pull the head forward without losing space in the lumbar spine. Shoulder blades come a little forward, and ribs drop back. It's okay if your low back comes to the ground, but don't tuck the hips toward your face. Okay, now go the other way. Start dropping back over your ball. Lay the head all the way back over the ball. Reach the elbows back. The neck should be able to curl over the ball with chin up, but neck fully supported. Reach your arms back. Slide your shoulder blades up the sides of the rib cage. Open your ribs. Now let the knees open more. I want you to feel a little pressure in your feet. Keeping your ribs open. Don't let them close. Low belly draws to bring your lumbar spine toward the mat. Feet push a little. That's just quad engagement. Don't close the glutes. Don't close the back door. And then let your hips roll back forward. You're just rolling on the tailbone. Do that again. Keep the ribs open. Keep the reach in your hands. Low belly draws a little, pulling pubic bone forward. And then let it drop away from you. Good. So don't let ribs close when this happens. Low belly draws. So the pelvic bowl dropping back with open ribs means the muscles inside the rib cage, the apple core muscles are working. Drop it forward. This should feel good on that side of your back. Low belly draws. Low back coming to the mat, but ribs still open, so lean back over your ball, make ribs open. And then drop the pubic bone all the way forward. Now pubic bone forward means lumbar spine in the air, bring hands to your head. Keep the pubic bone forward, not by flexing low back, but by releasing the front of the hips, letting the weight of the legs do that. Then bring shoulder blades down the body, bring the head up just as before, squeeze with the base of the hand. As you come up, do not tuck your hips to your face. Let the upper back drop back and down, keeping the pubic bone forward, low back, lumbar spine long. Good, feel that upper back open more. You may even feel a bigger stretch out of your hips. As the back of the ribs drop back behind the pelvic bowl, that pulls the front of the hips more. Okay, how are we doing? Good, nobody's in pain? All right, good. Drop it back one more time. Really stab shoulder blades into the ball this time. Try to feel shoulder blades come under your ribs to more purposefully open the ribs. Okay, you can keep hands in the head or you can reach them back, whatever's easier. Little pressure in the feet, start to roll in on the hips, and a little low belly suction brings your pubic bone to the face a little. Keep the ribs open. You have to actively keep ribs open to do that. If your ribs close first, it's a tuck and there's no room for the low belly muscles. Then drop pubic bone forward. Do that again. Low belly draw. Stay long. Keep the ribs open. And then drop back forward. Last one. Keep ribs open. So serratus help keep ribs open. And then drop back forward. forward, keeping pubic bone forward, elbows come into your peripheral vision if you left, shoulder blades stab into red ball, just your head comes up first. Curl the cervical spine first. Hands pull the head not only forward but up to the ceiling. That's where you're clamping on the head. Pull the back of the head up. Drop the ribs to the floor, but don't let your pubic bone meet your face. I want the corner to be turned in the upper back where it is on the ball. Feel low belly sink out of the front of the hips. Good job. And bring your legs back in. That shouldn't have hurt the outer hips, the low back, the glutes. Nothing should have been hurting there. If you pushed your bolster away, bring it back to that upper leg length. Okay, one more time we're going to hop forward. I want you to be able to curl your cervical spine over the ball so your head face, your eyes face your ceiling here. And it should fit kind of comfortably in the back. Okay, later we'll roll it so it's just behind the head and your eyes have to gaze forward. Then bring your elbows out to the sides, like you're hanging at a 90-degree angle. Upper arm is parallel to the top and bottom of your mat. Lower arm is parallel to the side of your mat. 90-degree angle. Little hangman style arms. I don't know if that's offensive. Sorry if it is. All right. Move your ribs over to the right. Now don't try to move right away. If you guys don't have ceiling mirrors at home, you won't notice, but your hips try to move. Everything but the ribs try to move. So here's how you're going to move your ribs. You're going to bring your right shoulder blade down a little bit. That right shoulder blade and serratus engaged. Shoulder blade coming down pushes your ribs left. Push into the head a little bit to pick the ribs up. Move your ribs left, put them back down. You don't have to move them very far. If you can't find that, don't worry about it. So your ribs just went left. Now lift the outer arch of your left foot. The inner arch is right on the edge of the bolster. Drop the knee and hip forward. Not just down, but forward and across. Then keep the right knee in, low belly sinking. You need to put your right foot on the floor, that may help. You can leave it on the bolster if you want. Keep pushing into the ball with your head a little bit. Reach the hip further forward. Okay. And then slowly roll the leg back up. You should feel that in the hip flexor, the front of the hip, the psoas, coming up into the ribs. Okay. Now move your ribs right. So left shoulder blade comes down a little, ribs go over to the right. You open your right elbow wider. Lift the outer arch of the right foot. Let the right hip reach forward, away from the ribs. The knee will come in and down. Left knee staying in will help you sink low belly out of the front of the hips. Okay, breathe. Push into the head a little to lift ribs. That'll lessen the stretch. Drop your chin down more to drop ribs to the mat. That'll deepen the stretch. Roll it back up. Okay, come to the middle. Switch, ribs go left. Left knee comes in and down, hip reaching forward. Good. If you want to deepen it, you can cross the right leg over the left and pull the knee forward and down a little more. Okay. If you want to go further, bring your right hand to your head. Just try to pick your head up and chin lock. Drop the chin down. Try to get your ribs to touch the floor. Still pressing back into the red bone. You're not trying to crunch. If your hip comes to you, you just feel the stretch. You're now strengthening and shortening what I was trying to stretch. Feel your ribs coming away from the pelvic bowl. Go and let your head lay back. Release whatever was tensing if it was and shouldn't have been. Uncross the leg. Use the right leg coming in. Bring the left leg back up. Okay, move your ribs to the right. Lift your outer right foot. Drop the knee across. Okay. If you want to go deeper, you can cross that left ankle over the knee and drop the knee down. Your foot hooking around the knee to help you stretch. You want to keep going, you can bring your left hand to the head, right at the tip of the head, right where it's not on the ball. Use your serratus under the left armpit to pull the elbows forward, shoulder forward. Pick the head up and keep your neck back into the ball. Ribs will drop down with the mat more. Keep opening between your cage and pelvis. Breathe. Let your lower belly sink out of the front of that hip. If you know you stay tight in your sitting bones and you keep your femur really close to your tailbone, reach your right hip back a little to the right heel. So like you're pulling your butt back to the right. Feel that open more. And then let it go. Now try to make that happen from your low belly instead of from your glute, your butt, and your backside. And then let it go. Good. Drop the head back again. Bring the elbows to the floor. Uncross the leg. You guys getting this in the right place? Good? Very good. Alright. Let's go ahead and see if we can go deeper. Keeping the ball under the head. Go ahead and reach for your left ankle. You're going to try to cover the whole foot. If you don't cover the toes when you pull your foot back, the toes try to flex back and you get cramp in the foot a lot of times. Left foot is back to start. Okay, if you have trouble getting there, you're going to need to put a block under your hips. Lift the hips up. If you don't want to go this deep, just do the same stretch we just did a second ago. That's your prep for this. Instead of just dropping the knee across, you can start working on bringing the foot behind the bolster and reaching the knee forward more. Okay? If you can get your foot back, get it all the way back into that quad stretch. Foot is outside the body, knee is in a little bit. Okay? And then you're going to bring your right hand under the head, pull the head up, chin lock, chin down. Bring your left elbow out to the side. Try to bring your ribs over to the left. You have to push into the ball to bring your ribs a little left. Good. And then reach the left knee forward. Now release your left glute, reach the right knee forward. Try to reach your right knee to touch your left knee. That's going to deepen the stretch. And back. Open the right knee out to the side. Low belly sinking. And bring it back up. Come back right into the middle. Put a little pressure into the right foot to sink your low belly and pelvic floor down. You may even lift the hip up off the ground a little bit. And then let that go. And all the way down. Then take that foot out of the stretch. Bring the other leg into the stretch. Or the alternative is put the foot down next to the bolster. Knee goes forward, toes work on tucking back. Okay, you're going to bring the foot into the stretch. Bring that right foot back. Top of the foot into the mat. Okay. Go ahead and bring your left hand behind the head. Bring your ribs over to the right a little bit. Bring the head up, chin lock, ribs dropping. Reach the right knee forward. Left low belly feels like it's shortening. Left foot can push a little bit. Notice if the right glute is squeezing a lot there, don't let it. Instead, just push down the top of the foot, which is a soft flexion in the quad while it's stretching. And then let go of that. Let the stretch go deeper. Good. Now bring your left knee across to the right. If you want to deepen the stretch even more, you can take both hands behind the head. We're going to try to drop ribs back, neck back into the ball, hips forward, low belly forward. Bring it back up. Drop the knee all the way open. That weight of your leg starts lifting your pelvic bowl on the right side up into the stretch more. Let it. Don't try to control that. If you interfere, now gravity's not on your side. If you use your glute to push up, that's not it. If anything, you should be using your low belly to pull back. That's what bringing the head forward does. Drops the ribs down. So a lot of this is feel, don't do. Don't do much. Bring the knee back in. Okay. Put a little bit of pressure into the foot, like we did earlier. Low belly draws back. That brings lumbar spine to the ground, and use some pressure in the foot. That's quad engaging to pick the hips up. And then drop back down and release the hip even more. Good. Take the foot out of the stretch. Good job. All right, very nice. Okay, let's go ahead and heel side the feet wide again. Drop your knees all the way out to the side. Actually, let's go ahead and put the soles of the feet together in Supta. Yeah. So the soles of the feet are touching, knees are dropping open. Your tail should already be under, if it wasn't already. And you should have a little space in your lumbar spine. The weight of the knees is pulling the lumbar spine off the mat. Now, if it's too tight in here and the weight of the knees is crunching your low back and it hurts, now you're going to need to support the knees. Take some of that weight away. Put some balls, the bolsters under the legs. Okay? Arms go up. Take the ball back further so it's just under the head and neck, and the ball is helping to put you into your chin lock. The chin is down into the sternum. Think of your chin coming where the collarbones, like notch between the collarbones are. Bring your hands up, palms facing in. Essentially, you can reach it, grab your purple block. If not, don't worry about it. Just have your block be, have your hands be about purple block width. Okay, if you can reach your purple block, put it in the base of the hand, fingers long. It's just to help you have a measure. Drop your shoulders down into the mat. I want you to feel even the shoulder blade all the way up by the cervical spine. The shoulder blade is down low near floating ribs. It's all, well, maybe not floating ribs, but pretty low. It's also near the collarbone or near the cervical spine. Let that part of the shoulders drop. Block is right above your head, like it's shielding you from rain. Then drop the arms back really slowly. It's gravity pulling arms back, so none of the muscles in the top of the shoulders are flexed. Instead, the serratus underneath the arms, right where kind of where the armpits are, lifts the shoulder blade, the bottom of the shoulder blades up, wrapping them around the ribs. Chin back, neck long. Ribs open. Low belly sinks out of the front of the hips. Try to feel that ribs open feeling before you try low belly. The chin shouldn't have come to the ribs as much as the ribs came to the chin. Okay, now softly reach through the thumb side of your hand, shoulder blades slide up the sides, you just disengage serratus. But you will make more length out of the back because lat's attached to the upper arm. Then pull the shoulder blades back down. Feel your shoulder blades come underneath the ribs, lifting them up. Open ribs more. Now drag the arms up from underneath. Soft bend in your elbows. Feel serratus pull arms up from underneath. You may feel a stretch in the tops of the shoulders. Keep the elbows a little soft. Do not squeeze your block. It should be such a light grip that it wants to fall on your head. Good job. Do you guys find that? Ribs opening, low belly sinking, apple core abs is what we're looking for. Bring the knees back up. Good. All right, let's go ahead and move your, where am I going next? All right, let's move your hips to the right a little bit. No, we'll do that in a minute. Instead, bring your bolster up to your hips. Use your feet to bring all the way up to tailbone. And before you lift your hips, push your bolster just enough away so your feet can be on it. So keep it as close to you as you can get it and still get your feet to it without your tail lifting off the mat. That's not allowed. You have to be able to drop your pubic bone forward and have a natural curve in your lumbar spine, little space in your low back. If you can't do that, your bolster's got to be further away. Okay? Take the arms up again and drop them back, same way we did before. Let the ribs open. Now, just like we did with knees open earlier, little pressure in feet, which should just be quads. And you don't need to squeeze your glutes to press with your feet. That's just quads. Quads extend the leg. That's all you're trying to do, little press. And then low belly sucks back to bring the lumbar spine into the mat, but your ribs stay open. Okay? And then keeping the pressure from the feet, lift the hips up slowly. No glutes, ever, not allowed. Hips come off the ground, low belly is still sucking back out of the front of the hips. Glutes are totally released. Open your heels wider once you're up there. You can let your knees drop in toward each other if that's easy. If they can rest on each other, let them rest. Keep reaching the arms away. Drop your chin back, neck back into the ball, lengthening the spine, lengthening between rib cage and pelvis, low belly sinking. Slowly come down from low belly. Keep ribs open. So lumbar spine is articulating, but upper back is kind of arched. Okay, then pubic bone drops all the way forward. If knees have to open, let them. Okay, try again. Little pressure in feet, feel low belly pull out of the front of the hips. Your knees reach forward away from that. Think of knees pulling away from low belly coming away from knees. Ribs are open. Chin back, neck back. Reach the arms away. The more you slide the shoulder blades up, the more space you should feel on your back. No glutes, open heels more. Good. Now come down with low belly lead. Try to get your lumbar spine to touch down first. Good. And then let your hips drop all the way forward. One more like that. Any questions first? Low belly draws, keep press a little just to help low belly. Do not squeeze the front of the hips. Those hip flexors don't engage here. Knees reach forward, arms reach back. Low belly sucks out of the front of the hips. Heels open. Good. Chin back, neck back to help ribs open more. Really have a chin lock by bringing the ribs up to the chin. Then release your glutes. Let your hips start to drop. Low belly drawing out of the hips. Lumbar spine coming down. Don't have to articulate if you find it easier not to. And then roll pubic bone further forward. And bring it back. Arms come up. Bring your bolster now all the way to the hips. How do you do with that? You guys finding that release in the low back there? Pick your hips up, bring your bolster on you. Now this is the same thing. If your toes come off the mat, by the way, I know you're in your quads, your flexors, everything. But if your toes come up, I know you're probably squeezing the glutes. So I want you to keep the feet down and push forward on the mat. Feel quads, low belly. And that's how you pick hips up. Glutes are soft. You're not squeezing the glutes. You're not closing the glutes and pushing hips up. That's not good for your low back. It's pressure in feet, suction in low belly. Glutes should be loose, jiggly. Okay. Chin down, neck on, staying in that chin lock. Move your ribs hop further back on the mat toward the ball. Okay, bolster's pretty high up. Bring the arms up. One leg comes in at a time. Your upper back has to be able to touch the mat. Bring your arms inside the legs and you can either take happy baby hands, hands on top of the feet and turn out. Or you can bring the hands inside the legs and under the heels. Okay, let's start by turning the feet in. You never do that. Like you're going to make a circle with the feet. Pull the knees wider. Maybe they can drop back toward the mat. That's fine. Keep your ribs open here. Don't tuck and put your belly up to the ceiling. Knees open, ribs open, so chin back to help keep length in your upper spine. Back of the neck pushing to the ball. Shoulders open, chest wide. Good. Now turn your feet out to the sides. That's it. Open the legs a little more. Release the hamstrings. Good. Let your right leg go. Bring the right arm up to the ceiling, let that shoulder blade drop down, and then slowly drop the arm back. If the foot can touch the floor, let it. Tip to the left first. Tip over to the left, so that left leg is heavy. Notice how tipping left means the right leg pops up a little, right? That's your anchor. You're holding on to the left leg. Now use your quad to straighten the right leg, adding some additional weight, and then let your hip reach forward, chin back, neck back. Feel that stretch in the right hip. Breathe, front of the right hip. Let your left hip go. Don't try to shorten the front of that left hip just because it's in a flexion right now. Chin back, neck back. Elongate your core. Now release the left shoulder blade. You can use that left shoulder blade to pull down, left serratus, push your ribs right and open more. If you did that, let it go. Use your right serratus to start bringing the arm up from underneath, from the shoulder blade, from the base of the shoulder blade, from the armpit sort of. Elbow will bend and lean. When the arm is up, let the hand and wrist float. Soften the hip even further away from the serratus. Reach through the quads, band your right toes. Breathe. Bring the right knee back and slowly bend it out to the side. The hand comes inside the leg and under your heel. Good. Let go of the left leg. You can let the foot find the mat right away if you can. Bring your left arm up, drop the shoulder blade down. Even the shoulder blade by the cervical spine. Let the arm drop back slowly. It's your serratus resisting the fall from underneath the armpit. Palm faces in, elbow faces the ceiling. Keep that serratus a little engaged. Then slide the left foot forward. The quad is straightening the leg. When it goes all the way forward, the foot will lift in line with the leg. Keep tip to the right so that right hip is open. And then feel that right hip dropping right. Release your right glute. You don't need to hold any of that so much. Then the left low belly can open and hip reaches away. Breathe. Use quad a little. Sink low belly away from the head. Feel your groin muscles go apart. If you want to pull that right shoulder blade down a little deeper and push your ribs across to the left with the right shoulder blade, you can. And then come back to the neck. Use your left serratus to pull that left arm up from underneath. Keep the hip release. Don't shrug. Don't bring hip up to help. Once the arm comes up from underneath, keep the serratus. Keep that stabilizing ribs lengthen hip further away. Fan your left toes out. Breathe. Don't squeeze your glutes. This is not a stretch you should be feeling in the glute in the back of the hip. That would be squeezing and holding. You should feel quads straighten and then the weight of the leg drops the leg. And if you let the leg bend and all the weight goes away, some of the weight's there. But if your knees sticking up to the ceiling, just by straightening the leg comes up in line with the leg, or the lower leg comes in line with the upper leg, that extra weight is what you want to let the stretch happen. You're still not pulling down with the glute. Okay. Let's go ahead and bend that knee all the way in. Okay. And grab your ball, move it out from under the head. Should feel really good at this point to lay flat. Okay. A lot of stretch in the neck, upper back, cervical spine too. Bring one foot at a time to the ground. Pull your bolster as high up the back as you can. Okay. Shoulders should still be able to touch the ground. That's the only qualifier. But if you can get it up to the bottom tips of your shoulder blades, do it. Feet are as wide as the mat. Okay. Now, if you feel this in your low back, you got to pull the bolster down until it supports your tailbone. Okay. So if you can let the hips fall, it may deepen the stretch. But again, if it's in your low back, you got to push bolster down until the lumbar spine's supported. All right, here we go. Keep the bolster pulled into you. Hands are going to wrap around the corners of the bolster. Lift the outer arch of the right foot, drop the knee in and down. And instead of reaching across to the left, think of the hip going forward. The inner arch of your right foot is trying to be totally flush with the ground. Foot totally sideways, so outer foot facing the ceiling. Then, roll your shoulder heads forward. Trying to drop the ribs a little deeper into your bolster without tucking hips. If you tuck hips, you just killed the stretch. Now there's no point. You're just fighting the stretch. Okay, let the shoulders drop back again. Feel your hip release further. If your hip did engage to roll the shoulders, maybe it released more that way. Now bring your left leg in a little more to your midline. Yeah, you can sink low belly a little bit more out of the front of the hip, and both sitting bones can come apart easier. Think of your right sitting bone going back right a little. Okay, now graze the knees past each other, your left knee drawing in, sliding past the right, outer foot facing the ceiling, inner foot on the floor, like the sole of the foot is pushing the wall away. Notice if your glutes flex, release that glute. That is not what this is about. We're doing prone stuff today. Let gravity stretch you. Softly draw the low belly and roll shoulders forward using the low belly as an anchor. Think of it as pelvic floor, mula bandha. Don't think of it as low belly. Think of it as that perineum or the Kegel exercise, pulling the member into the body. That's your anchor to roll shoulders forward. If you had to use hips, that's not it. Let the shoulders drop back. Keep the foot active. That inner spiral in the foot, that inner foot dropping down will help the hip open more. Now drop the right knee in. Feel your low belly sink out of both hips. Both sitting bones come apart. Heels reach away from each other. Slowly let the right knee graze past the left. Feel that low belly help you drop the hip back. And the right knee goes across. Feel that hip stretch a little more. Okay, the left knee starts grazing past the right. Feel your right low belly right inside the pelvic bowl, drawing back. Left low belly getting pulled long, just inside pelvic bowl. Good. And then switch. Lifting outer right foot, knee grazing past the left. Let the knee that's dropping do more of the work than the one that's lifting. Don't think of lifting the knee from the tip of the knee. Think of the hip coming back from the low belly. Left knee dropping forward, right low belly pulling back. And then right knee dropping forward, left low belly drawn, sitting bone left, opening hip as you go left. And start to feel that rolling through the hips very independently. If you're not crunching low back while you're doing this, the space you make in the front of your hips should help open up the lumbar spine. If you can find low belly coming out of the front of the hips a little bit, increasing your stretch and controlling the movement of the hips, that should help you keep your hips separate, keep your SI joint between the hips and the low back, well, lower than the low back, open and mobile. Alright, let's go ahead and rest both knees in. If you feel like that, or low back at all, push the mat forward, lift your low down. Good, and push your feet open the knees, bring the hips back up. Good. Push your bolster down until it's under the sacrum. Well, yeah, the sacrum. I want your pelvic bowl to drop back a little bit toward the floor, like you're spilling water back out of the pelvic bowl, out of the low back. Okay? That should release your low back. Okay. And a little bit of pressure in the feet, quads engaging like you're pushing the mat forward. Suck your low belly out of the front of the hips, but keep your ribs open. You can reach overhead to open ribs. So feel that ribs open feeling, but low belly drawn. And now same movement, but it'll be a lot smaller. Drop the right knee forward, just a little across, and then switch. Just feel the low belly more than the rolling in the hips. You may feel inner knee a little bit. Low belly away from front of the hips. Low back should be loose. Come to the middle, both knees in and forward. Low belly sucking out of that. And then bring the knees in one at a time. Good. Open your knees out to the sides. Open your feet a little bit so feet are right above the knees. And let your low back release. Keep the ribs open. If your ribs closed, this became a tuck and you have chin abs approaching up and this got really hard. Let the ribs be open and let the weight of the low body just hang into this stretch wherever it happens to be. This should be a release in your low back. Okay, you can bring the hands to the inner feet and softly increase the stretch. Elbows go to the tops of the shins. Your serratus engaged to push down or pull down on the knees and shins. Sending the low belly forward, hips forward. And that's also leverage to open your ribs up. Chin down, neck long, floating ribs open. So upper back may even arch off the mat while low back is coming toward the mat. Good. If you want to open legs out to the side, a little bigger stretch there. Roll the hips forward now, up and over under the bolster if you can. Find quads a little. And bring it back in. There we go. Okay. Last one here. Hold on to ankles. Inner spiral arms so that biceps face in, inner elbow faces in, and tips of elbows face out. Put those to your inner knee. Push out on the inner knee by using serratus to pull the shoulder blades from underneath, goes into the armpit, to open the hips and open the knees. If you can keep that and use biceps to pull the feet up toward your shoulders and face, keep them about hip width apart, great. If pulling on the ankles makes that is not it. Keep the serratus, keep the ribs open, keep the chin down, keep low belly drawn, keep it going a little forward. Chin down, back of the neck long, ribs open. And let that go. Bring the legs back. Good. One foot at a time to the floor. Bring your bolster up really high again, as high as you can get it. If you can get your tailbone to hang off the front, that's ideal. Okay. And then you're going to move your hips over to the right. Move over to the right on your bolster a little bit. Okay. Bring your left leg out in front. Cross your right leg over and bring your left hand to the right leg. See if you can fit your elbow right around the edge of the bolster. Bring your right arm up. Reach. Okay, now see if you can drop your right hip forward. Your left hip, if you could get it there, the left pelvic bowl is in the corner of the bolster. That can shorten up to drop that right hip further forward. Should feel a pretty decent stretch on the right side. I want you to shrug shoulder up purposely. I don't care. I'd like you to use the pec to bring the shoulder up so that the shoulder head comes toward your cheek or jawline, but I don't care if you do it from the neck as long as your shoulder blade slides up and the ribs open. Okay. Then bring the, well no, hold on, stay here. Suck your low belly back. Think of the leg that's on the floor, the straight leg, pushing the floor forward to suck the belly back a little bit, and then bring the arm back, opening up into a deeper twist. You have to have low belly drawn and lumbar spine loose to twist. If you're flexing the muscles in your low back, this isn't going to feel very good. Breathe. Okay. One more. Bring the arm back up overhead. Reach. Good. Straighten the leg out a little bit, and then bring it a little further away from you. And now start rolling out of the stretch, but keep the leg across. Low belly sucking back. Go a little on your IT there. And then bring the foot back and roll the knee up. Good. How are we doing?
Good.
one, yeah.
Good one.
Nothing in low back. Okay. So again, you're up high with this. Move over to the left on it. Shoulders kind of stay put. Your hips move left. It's a little bit of a tough one. Bring your right leg out. Okay, reach it. Bring your left leg across. Your right elbow should be able to come around the bolster. Hand to the knee. Bring your left arm up. Again, you're going to shrug. I don't really care how. I'd rather it be from the pec, which means the front of the shoulder comes to the jawline as opposed to the neck crunching, right? Okay, and your chin is back a little. Sink your low belly and suck the pelvic bowl back a little bit from low belly. Think of the foot that's straight, pulling forward on the back to help you draw low belly back. If you can keep that, you want to hold on to that right knee while you do this. Keep low belly engaged soft. Bring your left arm out to the left to come to the twist. You don't want a back that's flexed. You don't want your tailbone reaching back for that hand. You want low belly in. And you can also think of that right pelvic bowl digging into the bolster. Drop your left hip down. Forgot to cue that earlier like we did on the other side. But that should be happening. Breathe. Soften your head. Soften your glutes. Both of them. Bring the arm back up. Use that right pelvic bowl shortening to drop left hip forward. Good. Straighten the leg further forward. Start rolling back out of the stretch. Let the hips start rolling back, low belly drawing. Foot turns in and sickles a little bit. Go a little stretch in your IT now. Bend the knee, bring it back, and roll it up. Good. Bring the bolster all the way now to the tip of the tailbone, pretty low down. Definitely going to let your lumbar spine roll. You'll feel a lot of weight come into the spine right behind the sternum. That's fine. Let it. That's good, actually. Let your low back release. Bring one knee in at a time. Hold on to the knees. All right, we do a lot of work to separate the hips. Let's keep them separate. So a lot of people hold the hips together and rock back and forth like a little steel pole. That's not it. Hold on to the knees. Keep them separate. Drop your left knee open to the left. Let your left shoulder blade slide off the back. Keep the right elbow wide. As your left shoulder blade slides down the ribs, if you open the right ribs by opening right elbow, lift right shoulder a little bit, your ribs can go a little to the right. Low belly sinking out of the front of the left pelvic bowl. If you can get your left knee down past the hip and the weight of the left foot is dropping to the floor, it's a little inner spiral and a stretch in the hip. Low belly drawn out of the front of the hips. Soft. Breathe. Chin down, neck long. Feel those apple core abs. To switch, bend at the bicep, or you bend the elbow using the bicep of the left arm. Rest into the groin stretch where both legs are open to wherever their easy stretch is. Then use the right arm, straighten the arm forward. That's just some tricep. Then let the weight of the leg drop into your hand. I want that leg to come down past the hip if possible, down to the level of the bolster. Left elbow open. As right shoulder blade slides down, it can help push ribs left. Left shoulder blade lifting a little, opening left ribs. Let the right foot dangle over there. Suck your low belly out of the hip. Chin down, neck long. Ribs are still a little open. Breathe. Pull back with your left hand. Bend your right elbow. Good. Now you're going to slowly, I'm not going to say rock back and forth. I'm going to say roll through the hips. Bring your left hip left, left foot forward, right knee into your arm, right armpit. Feel how hips are going in opposite directions. Then switch. Use your hands to control your legs. Right arm pulls right leg forward, left elbow bends, pulling left knee to the armpit. Switch. Feel how your hips are rolling separately. The SI joint is like the middle of the rag that you're wringing back and forth, separate. Switch. As the right leg goes forward, there's a soft inner spiral. Left leg comes to armpit, soft outer spiral. Switch. The weight of the left foot dropping as left leg goes forward, picks up the left pelvic bowl. The right knee coming back, drops right pelvic bowl back. Switch. And come to the jump. Go ahead and bend the knees in for a minute. Okay. And we're going to take a plow if you have that. If you don't, you can go ahead and push your bolster down to calves and go right to your corpse pose. Go right to your Shavasana. If you want a plow practice or if you want something similar, couple ways. I'm going to show you all of them. You can pick what you want to do. First, you can pull the bolster all the way up to your back and put your elbows on the bolster. You have to have some leverage there. And then you bring one leg up at a time, holding onto the legs. If you didn't hold on to the legs with elbows pressing down into the bolster, your hips would fall. Your shoulders would come off the mat. That's how high up the bolster you are. Okay? Then, like it's someone else's legs. If you try to tuck, this is not going to work. Your back is not going to ground. Okay? You're going to bring your feet up, let your knees open, and bring your hands to your own sacrum. Elbows still on your bolster. And you, like it's somebody else's low body, your hands are going to walk up the hips and bring the hips up. You have to keep hips soft. You have to keep your core disengaged. The reason you're doing that is because probably if you don't have a plow practice, the reason you don't have a plow practice is you use the superficial abs and you tuck, and now you can't round. So we need to keep ribs open and let pelvic bowl drop back behind the ribs, behind open ribs. Let your knees drop to the ground, feet drop to the ground here. And keep working on your hands, softly lifting your hips up out of your ribs. Reach low belly up. Okay, that's the first way. To come out of that, you slowly let your hands slide up, catch the backs of the legs. Okay, we're going to do two or three. Okay. The second way, easier than that. You have to make some adjustments though. You'll come off your bolster and turn it long ways. Sit on. Elbows to the front. Shoulders off the back. Okay, only your shoulders touch the mat. Well, your head, obviously, touches the mat. Okay? And then you bring one knee in at a time. Same thing though. Bring your knees up, keep your hips released, pull the legs to you. Just gives you a little push. Use your hands to your low back, elbows to the floor, and you just roll off your bolster. Okay, coming more forward over your Good. Good. Okay, once you're there, take the palm shoulders away from the ears and down into the mat to make space in your neck. Lift low belly up to the ceiling, trying to lengthen lumbar spine. Okay, if you want to extend your legs out, you can. Tuck toes, or you can put the tops of the feet into the floor. If you want to go deeper, you can reach your hands for your bolster. Hug your arms into your bolster. Push the upper arm down. Lift your pubic bone up, trying to flatten the lumbar spine to the ceiling. Shoulders away from the ears. Get that neck longer. Slide your head further away from shoulders. Breathe. Take one breath. If you want to go even deeper, you can use your bolster. Put your thumbs, keep hands fold into each other, palms down, walk shoulders together a little more, and reach the palms away. Really straightening arms, shoulders away from ears, and then reach hips to ceiling. Okay, if you want to go further, you can bend elbows, hands to sacrum, you can tuck toes. Pull the hips back to rest on hands. Keep quads engaged, and lift legs straight to ceiling. Hands working up the back, chin lock, ribs to chin. Feel like you're lifting the hips out of the ribs. Use the low belly, shoulders away from ears. Wherever you're at, make your way out of this. Slowly lower the legs. No glute squeeze should have ever happened there. Okay, you can tuck toes and reach your heels away. Pick the hips up to the ceiling. Arms drop forward. Slowly rolling down, open shoulders if you pull shoulder blades together. Keep the legs close to the body. And go all the way back down again. Okay. Bend the knees, bring the feet to the floor. If you're on your bolster long legs, get rid of it, turn it sideways. You can put it under your calves if you want, or you don't have to use that for your corpse pose. If you feel like you need anything else, feel free to take it now. If you're ready to lay in your corpse, go ahead and go there. Okay, so try to let your feet dangle in the air here. Hopefully you made a lot of space in the spine. A lot of new muscles in the core. If you can. Let the palms face up. Inhale, soft but long. Feel the ribs open. Hold that air in with the ribs open. Sink the low belly, like you're bringing lumbar spine a little toward the mat. And then as you exhale, feel the natural recoil in the ribs as they drop toward the mat. And at the bottom, push roll shoulders, touch forward, ribs deepening. And then let that go. One more breath like that. Inhaling, roll shoulders back, a little opening ribs. Chin down will help you with the sternum to the chin. Lift your low belly. Pelvic floor, move abundant. And then slowly let it go. Keep move abundant at first. And as ribs drop, release. Try to stay totally released. Let your eyes roll back into the back of the head and the middle of the forehead where the third eye lives. Softening the facial muscles and the muscles in the head and neck. Try to feel it spreading across the brow. Across the bridge of the nose and the jaw, and also spreading at the base of the skull between the ears. Let everything go. Keep your tongue still and soft, jaw hangs open, pupils don't move. Inhale as soft as you can so you can barely feel the breath move the body, but extend your inhale. As you exhale, try to exhale as soft as you can. You barely feel the warmth of the breath coming out of the nostrils. Feel your chest descend and energy come down, away from head, neck, down to feet. Stay with that breath cycle. We'll be here for about 10 breaths. natural recoil. And your next inhale, hold the air in at the top. Blink the eyes open, but blur your vision, soften your gaze. And then as you exhale, start sharpening the vision. At the bottom of the breath, open fingers and toes. Reach up, stretch the arms back with the belly sunk. Inhale. And exhale, just let everything go. Good job. Very good job, guys. Make your way to sitting. You can roll to one side, stacking hips, stacking ribs, stacking shoulders. Sit up to there. Or you can reintegrate the body. Legs forward, arms forward, chin to the chest. Once you're up, you want to lay over bolster with knees wide. Let the back release.
Thank you very much.
You guys want to own today?
Yes.
Alright, here we go in a little bit. One day apart. You can find a comfortable seat. It can be lotus, it can be whatever works. Or if you have more trouble keeping the spine straight in lotus than anything else, sit up on something so you can be very easy and erect in the spine. It's a long, soft inhalation through the nose. Hold the air at the top, ribs open. Start your jaw forward, sound, releasing facial muscles, come to the ooh. And you have enough breath, you want to save enough breath for the to vibrate through your core as you completely empty the lungs. Once you're empty, ribs will be kind of closed. Flare them back open again. Try to lift pelvic floor. Find Mula Bandha. And maybe even chin down as ribs lift. Jalandhara Bandha. Here we go. Palms forward. Inhale. Bring your hands into prayer in the middle of the forehead where the third eye is. Let your sitting bones roll under, low back release. Round your spine one last time, sealing your practice. Thank you very much, guys.
Thank you.
Oh, didn't you feel your back open? Yeah, good.
That feels better already.
Good, good, good.
Man, your cue is right on today.